So the idea is to have a quick 15-minute talk about the concept of interoperability, especially between the two projects. So let's start with a simple question. Why are we even talking about interoperability today? Because research is not siloed anymore. It's powered by data, tools, infrastructure that cut across disciplines, institutions, and countries also. And if we want any of this to work together, we need to connect the dots. So that's why we are facing some major shift. First, AI is changing everything, from LLM-based query system to simulation model and knowledge graph-driven analytics. Discovery is becoming matching assisted, but only if, of course, the data is usable. Second, FAIR is no longer optional. It's everywhere, in calls, in platform, in infrastructure like EOSC. But having FAIR principles is not the same as having systems that work together. And third, governance is going federated. We have EOSC node, data spaces, some other national strategies. No one wants to centralize, but everyone needs to connect. That is the challenge where we are here to explore today through the different presentations we have prepared for this second day for the APL. But let's pause a second. We often talk about interoperability as a challenge to solve, but today it is also a paradox, because in 2025, we have never had more tools, more standard, more fair compliant data, more infrastructure, and yet interoperability is getting harder, not easier. Take AI. Our models are more powerful than ever. LLMs, graph-based reasoning, large-scale simulations, but the more capable they are, the more they depend on consistent semantics. Without shared mining, the intelligence collapses into noise. Take FAIR. Everyone is doing FAIR now. Funding agencies require it. EOSC is built on it. But FAIR doesn't mean the same things everywhere. And the more FAIR implementation we see, the more fragmentation we have to reconcile in practice. And then there is infrastructure, EOS nodes, data spaces, new portals. We have built a lot, but connecting them, that is also a governance challenge. Without shared rules, shared contracts, shared vocabulary, we are still working in silos, just with better decoration. So here is the paradox. Interoperability has never been more urgent, but also never more fragile. Before we go further, let's make sure we are talking about the same thing. Interoperability is not just a buzzword, it has a formal definition. According to ISO 2382, it's simply the ability of two or more systems to exchange information and to use it. Clear enough. But it doesn't tell us what that means in practice for research infrastructures. That is where the European Interoperability Framework comes in. It unpacks interoperability into 4 layers: legal, organizational, semantic, and technical. And of course, none of this works without a governance layer to align everyone. So when we say interoperability in LUMEN or GRAPHIA, we mean all of this. Not just connecting APIs, but aligning vocabularies, rules, and also teams. That is why it's hard. And that's why we need to prototype together. This slide brings us to the core of today's session. Two projects, LUMEN and GRAPHIA, that are not just using interoperability, but prototyping is, right? let's start with Lumen. On the left, you see how it delivers a federated semantic framework to discover and connect research assets. We have already shared some details about it yesterday through data, code, metadata, ontologies across 4 current scientific domains. It's not just about making things compatible. It is about building a shared infrastructure for discovery that is modular, composable, and reusable. On the right, GRAPHIA takes a complementary path. It builds a shared semantic infrastructure tailored to the needs of SSH, including knowledge graph, vocabularies, and some other AI-powered services on top of it, all anchored in open standards. The architecture you see here is designed to be both human and machine interpretable, supporting rich navigation, annotation, and inference. And what both projects have in common in this, they approach interoperability not as a constraint, but as a design principle. That means they don't wait until the end to plug things together, not at all, but they embed interoperability from the start. And this is the main reason why we are introducing this principle today. In how tools are designed, in how metadata is structured, in how communities govern and connect their contributions. So we are not just liking systems, we are liking disciplines, users, and services across previously siloed infrastructures. So together, Lumen and GRAPHIA offer a kind of blueprint for how interoperability can enable innovation, co-creation, and cross-disciplinary knowledge discovery. So this slide brings us one step deeper into the practical role of interoperability. It's not just as a requirement, but as an engine for innovation in how we explore knowledge. First, both Lumen and GRAPHIA use interoperability not only to connect, but to prototype. They don't just align existing systems, they build new ones, experimenting with modular components, new interfaces, new workflows. In other words, interoperability becomes a test bed in discovery innovation. Second, this work is modular by design. On one side, GRAPHIA enables deep semantic exploration through SSH knowledge graph. On the other, Lumen offers white label discovery platforms that connect software, data, and communities, and also other components, obviously. Together, they provide the building blocks for things like LLM interfaces, federated meta search, and cross-domain navigation. And third, there is a strong federated logic at play. GRAPHIA structures and enriches SSH data through semantic technologies. Lumen offers a shared mesh to make those outputs discoverable alongside other disciplines. So the innovation is not only technical, it's cross-disciplinary. And that's why this session is not just about showcasing tools, it's about exploring how interoperability can transform the way we access and connect knowledge across this domain. So, just to be a little bit clearer, how do Lumen and GRAPHIA actually make interoperability work? So, obviously, it starts with solid semantic foundations. On the left, we have GoTriple and the GoTriple data model, which has become a shared backbone for both projects. Originally designed for SSH publication, it will support dataset, software, semantic artifact, and more, all mapped to key standards like DCAT, Mount, and other standards and models. In the middle, this prototype fits into larger interoperability framework. We want to reuse and extend SKGIF, for example. We are discussing about ODCS, which is another standard in order to design our data contract in Lumen. And standards like DCAT help describe data products in a reusable and federated way. But on the right, and this is crucial, we go beyond technical alignment because interoperability is not just about format, It's about orchestrating fair services, documenting artifacts in a traceable way, and setting up governance models that allow for reuse and federation beyond the first pilots. And let's take a step back, because what we are doing with GRAPHIA and LUMEN is not just about building cool tools, fun services, or isolated components. It's about making sure these tools actually fit into the bigger picture, into the Europe research ecosystem. So that's exactly what this diagram shows. Of course, it's just an extraction of the real big picture, but what we can see here, some relation with our two main programs. On the left, you see the funding programs, InfraEOS, Infratech, that support key projects, and GRAPHIA and LUMEN build on top of this, on these funding programs and connect them to each other, creating bridges between, for example, other projects. We have already mentioned data commons. We have also some connection with, I don't remember the name, data gems, exactly, RAISE and other sister projects. And on the right, you see the broader landscape. We have the EOS governance, the research infrastructure, and the domain communities. So GRAPHIA and LUMEN are designed to plug into this structure, not just technically, but structurally, with reuse, governance, and long-term alignment in mind. Because at the end of the day, interoperability only matters if it helps knowledge flow across projects, across disciplines, and across the different countries. And to conclude this short introduction, interoperability is not just a technical issue, it's a shared challenge. We have too many standards, but not enough alignment. We have fair services, but they don't always connect. We still lack shared governance model to make things sustainable. So the image on the right is simple. We are trying to connect threads, but if no one coordinates the effort, we end up with that triangle, with that tangle, sorry. That is exactly what we are here to work on today. We will explore how to improve semantic alignment across communities. We will test the LUMIS meta search and refine. We will test the LUMIS meta search user story and refine some ideas and strategies. We will co-design the GRAPHIA ontology, and we will open a collective discussion on hybrid AI and how to embed trust into these new tools. So each session today is a step toward real and reusable and interoperable tools for knowledge exploration. And thank you.